Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Meta Artists International Snapshots interview. We are delighted to have you all here and for us to showcase our wonderful active participant from the Leadership and Management Workshop, Ms. Tamara Dworetz. She is a conductor in the course in the Leadership Management Workshop, and we're so delighted to have her here. If you could please tell us about yourself, Tamara.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a great workshop so far. I'm learning so much. It's been a highlight of COVID. Yeah, I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm currently finishing up my doctorate in orchestral conducting at Boston University, where I went to study with Bramwell Tovey. Prior to pursuing conducting, I actually taught orchestra at the high school level and pursued music education. So always on my mind has been education and the more psychological aspects of conducting. I actually, for my DMA, I wrote a paper on conducting leadership that is between the musicians and the conductor, kind of about that relationship, which I found was rarely discussed, but so important, and that's something I really wanted to learn more about. So I've been really excited about the Meta workshop, and it's been at a level that I was really excited about. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. We're so delighted to know that you're getting a lot out of this course and that you're really enjoying it. In regards to education, what are some of the activities or ways that you have been sort of bridging your love for music and education to the youth that you've mentored or taught?
Yeah, so I guess for me, something I've discovered in the last couple of years is that I really love this balance of both conducting at a really high level professionally and then also with youth. And I like to have both of those parts going on at the same time because working with youth to me like really energizes me. And then of course working with professional musicians is at a different level. But I just love. I've had experience working from third grade students, which in the United States is about age 8, to through college. And I have to say, my favorite ages to work with are probably elementary school and then also high school. Um, I just find that those students, everything is so new to them. In elementary school, it's like learning to play the instrument for the first time, and they're learning just how to read rhythms and clapping and counting and about the composers. Everything is brand new. They're just very open and excited. And at the high school level, they're at a level that they can learn, that they can perform pretty good repertoire, and they're playing it for the first time. And it's just fun to be a part of that experience with them. It's something I really treasure. So
Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome. So speaking of the youth, is there someone in your youth that really impacted your decision to go into music, like a role model or someone that mentored you?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the United States, we have something called All-State. So each of the 50 states, they select the best musicians in grades like 9 through 10 or 11 through 12, and then all those musicians come together. So for me, I was in Georgia, and we all came together and performed. And one of my conductors was named Michael Palmer. He really inspired me. I remember I was about 15, and he did an exercise with us where we just played a scale, and he did different gestures to show how fast or slow, loud or soft, and also the articulation and style to use. And then he would say, actually, no, you didn't play what I just showed you. And I realized at that moment, this is actually a relationship. This is a feedback between him and us. It's not just him telling us what to do. And so that was really exciting for me. I also played in a youth band in high school with a guy named Scott Stewart, and he was also just extremely just high level musician, but also knew how to relate to us kids. And so he really inspired me to have kind of both of those parts and to try to develop both of those parts as an educator and a musician, which I
Uh,
found they go hand in hand too.
Oh yeah, no, certainly. Like the feedback exchange is really important, especially like on the spot. And do you feel that these are qualities that you look for in other conductors or in your professors or even yourself when you are teaching?
When I mean, yes, definitely. I think it's something I'm just kind of discovering recently as I've had more conducting opportunities, is that all different orchestras are very different. It's almost like kind of like a speed dating where it seems like you either click or you don't click. And some orchestras are, each orchestra seems to have this really embedded culture that's developed over the years. And their auditions, they pick people, new musicians who kind of fit in with that culture. So it's strengthened. And sometimes those orchestras are conducted by a very powerful technique conductor and it just telling them what to do. And then some orchestras are used to having more of a feedback and a relationship with the conductor. And so I think it just depends. And it's just, there's a lot of more variety now than maybe there used to be. It used to be just like, I'm a conductor, I tell you what to do. And now I think there's a lot more different kinds of conductors and orchestras, and they're looking for different things. And I think that's really exciting. But it's also harder because then to find an orchestra that you really click with is a little harder. But yeah.
Is there sort of a conductor within the history of music that has really impacted you or sort of been monumental in how you've developed as a conductor?
Yes, that is a hard question though, because most of the conductors that, I watch them on YouTube, and had a chance to go to proms, London proms in 2019, and see some of these conductors that I've been watching my whole life on YouTube. But I saw them in rehearsal at the London proms versus on YouTube when I've been watching it, it's been in concerts. And some of them conducted the rehearsals just like it was in a concert. And I really didn't like that because, again, it was like they were just kind of telling the orchestra what to do. And so then I still love those conductors, but I think it's really interesting to watch conductors when I can in rehearsal settings to see how they interact, how they empower the musicians, how they give space and stuff like that. So, and that's definitely influenced how I am as a teacher. And it's really hard because you study as a conductor, you study your score, you know how you want it to go, and then when the orchestra, especially young orchestras, reading it, they're at a completely different level, and just to tell them what to do is not very inspiring for them. But that impulse is there, like, oh, the music needs to be better, the music needs to be better. So you have to like hush that down and just say the people are actually more important than the music in this case. But sometimes that doesn't happen at the professional level. It's like the music is more important than the people in front of, and the musicians in the orchestra. So
That's a really fascinating perspective.
that,
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, as someone who's not within the conducting realm, it's very interesting to hear how you're perceiving the differences between the actual concert and the rehearsal. So I'm wondering, so what do you consider your greatest achievement thus far? You're young and very talented and have a big passion for music. But I'm wondering, like, what would you consider your greatest achievement thus far?
oh gosh, that's hard because I'm always looking ahead and never really thinking about what I've already done. But greatest achievement, I had the opportunity. I was a finalist for the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. So that was very lucky. So I don't know if it was really an achievement. It was just very lucky that I was selected, but it was really cool to get to conduct them in a audition. Then I think when I think about it, I think just that I've been able to do education as well. I think it just is much, I think I'm much more fulfilled than I would have been otherwise. So I think that might be my greatest achievement actually, but that's hard to say.
It's definitely a hard question. Well, I guess in connection to that, which talent would you say you would most like to have, or something that you would like to further develop within yourself?
Definitely the leadership, and definitely my um, just I think conducting is one of those things that you just don't know. There's just so many levels, and then when you get to a level, it's like, okay, now I realize there's all this stuff I don't know. And then you get to the next level, and it's like, oh, it just like keeps going like that. And so at this moment, I feel like I just need to have a full-time job, and then that is just going to explode so many things of, oh my gosh, I have this to learn, this to learn, this to learn, this to learn, but until you're in that position, it's hard to know. Um, but I would say definitely just the psychology of working with an orchestra and rehearsing and making everybody feel good, because that makes the music sound better, um, and helping create an environment that's very positive, and productive at the same time. That's just something that takes practice. And I've seen what my teacher Bramwell, actually, the reason I really wanted to study with him was because I picked up that he was such a master at this. He's so good at empowering the orchestra and giving them space. While he's conducted the piece a million times and knows exactly how he wants it, and the orchestra's maybe played it, maybe the individuals in it have played it once, at the most twice, maybe. But he just is able to kind of nurture this environment that allows them to kind of learn it, and then they start to show this ownership over the rehearsal cycle, and then at the concert he adds this fire to it, and it's just, but they're able to meet each other at the same level, and that only happens because he kind of waits for them. So I want to be able to do that, basically.
Very, very awesome skill to have.
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering a little bit more about your development into who you are. What was your childhood like?
My childhood, I was born in Atlanta. I'm the oldest of two siblings. My mom, neither of my parents were professional musicians. My dad thinks he's got all the genes, but he definitely doesn't. And then my mom played flute and saxophone. She actually was one of the first women in the University of Michigan marching band, and this was right after like the era of Ravelli, who is the dictator marching band guy, and it was one of the first. She was one of the first women, so it was right after Title IX. So she loved music, and she wanted us to love music. So she actually picked the trumpet for me to play, which I think I would have preferred the French horn, but trumpet was okay. And my brother played the trombone, and she made sure that we went to concerts. We started in our public school music program. I started playing trumpet in fourth grade. Started piano around the same time, and yeah, so music was just always like, oh, do soccer and trumpet. So it was always one of those activities. Yeah.
And between you and your siblings, are you the one who was in music now, or?
Yes, yes. My brother continued playing trombone in college, but then kind of stopped. But for me, yeah, I kept going. But he has a really good job too. So.
Would you say, so then would you say that your mom influenced your love for music, or was it pretty much equal between your parents, and sort of like a whole environment of just music?
Definitely my mom. I mean, we had like a room devoted to music in our house. So, I mean, I would have loved to maybe find my own love for it a little bit more. It was a little bit pushed upon me, but then I kind of like to think that I kind of developed my own ownership of it over time. So, how to say that in the nicest way.
Oh, no, no, that was great. Yeah. Here's an interesting question, and I'm curious to know how you would answer it. Of course, with so many technological developments that are happening, and their impacts on music, wondering if if you could sort of develop some kind of new innovation for music, what would it be, or how, like what, like anything in the world, like what would it be? Like
Oh,
any kind of technological thing that you could add to music now, or even what you could sort of influence in the tech industry, or This is an odd question.
No, no, no. Well, I have two responses. One, I'm stealing. I forget where I heard this from, but this is actually this is for musicians and composers. So a lot of times, composers they try to find the words to describe how they want the music to sound, and they're writing. It's all on ink and paper. It's so two-dimensional, but what they're creating is sound. What they want created is sound. So um, putting in like those barcodes into the pieces that they write. So the cellist has their music, and then there's like the barcodes you can scan with your phone, and like when you scan it, it like has a audio clip of what the composer is intending, or like an explanation, so they don't have to like write it all in the music. I think that is a really practical thing to do. And also then for audiences, it would be cool if there's some kind of in time like app, so like audiences could log onto the app, and then as they're listening to the music, like there's something on the app is keeping time, and it's showing like maybe other people in the audience's comments. And I think they do this a little bit like on the screen too. And also there could be something educational. It's like, oh, it's the trombone section playing, and this group has the melody, this group has the melody. So something that's kind of like a game but educational, that helps the audience stay like really engaged and understand what's going on. I think that'd be cool. But
Yeah, it definitely would be, especially the game aspect. It would definitely pull in a lot of younger audiences.
yeah, maybe.
One more question, a kind of odd question, but just wondering if you could colonize Mars, who would you bring with you and why?
If I could colonize Mars, wow. Who would I bring with me and why? Um,
Person or animal? Anyone.
oh, just one.
Just one.
Just one. Okay. Person or animal? Oh gosh. I mean, I would have to say my husband if we're colonizing. But um, like it wouldn't just be me. It would just there'd be like lots of people there, and I just got to come, or I would be the only one.
Yeah, exactly. There's this, on the spaceship, you have room for one more. Who would you bring?
Okay, definitely my husband, and then I would sneak my guinea pigs in. I
Uh,
get guinea pigs. I'd sneak them in under my shirt or something like that. I don't know.
how many guinea pigs do you have?
I have two.
What are their names?
Their names, we didn't actually name them. We like adopted them, but their names are Crimson and Hazelnut. Crimson and
And
Hazelnut. They have a
and
lot of
who?
personality.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Which one is the nicer one, or the
Um,
cuddler, I should say?
Definitely Crimson. Yeah, she's definitely very cuddly. She's like a dog, pretty much. I mean, she's just like, yeah, it's very funny. They're very cute.
Cute. Yeah. I hope you'll take them with you onto Mars. Cool. So now segueing into leadership. And of course, the leadership and management class has a lot, the workshop incorporates a lot of these concepts of, leadership and what makes a great leader, the qualities that they have, the characteristics they have, the experiences that they bring. So I'm wondering, what does it mean to you to be a good leader?
Well, I think my intellectual understanding of being a good leader is probably much further along than my own ability to be a leader. I have to say that up front. But basically, what I talked about in my paper was um, basically the conductor as a leader developing an understanding more for who he or she is leading. And oftentimes the conductor is so consumed with just surviving in the career, because it's so hard to be a conductor and to conduct and to learn all the music and the gestures, and everything that nowadays, especially in the 21st century, that is being asked of a conductor. There's so much to do that we often like lose touch with who is in front of us. And I think understanding musicians can make us really much better conductors, and understanding what musicians are going through. There in classical music, there's a big culture of perfectionism, and so only acceptable thing is perfect, and that's often the mindset. And so there's a lot of insecurity, there's a lot of judgment. And so as a conductor, really being aware of that, so to create a climate where like everybody is just already enough, nobody's gonna get, nobody has to worry, just everyone be their best self. I think that's really important and something that's not taught. And that's something I really want to get better at. And again, it's like I've analyzed all of this and done research and interviews, but it's not something I've actually done in practice to the level I'd like to do. So yeah. Does that answer the question? Or
no, it certainly does. Yeah, no, it was really great. And I think that, I'm really excited that you're in this workshop, because those are definitely questions that have been resonating with a lot of people. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear about how you will like the session, like the upcoming workshops. So our last question: if heaven exists, what would you like to ask or say to God when you arrive at heaven's gates?
oh my God, that's something I never thought about before. Oh my gosh. Why are you asking that question? Can I ask why?
It's part of the a set of questions called Proust questions.
Oh,
And
interesting.
yeah, it's interesting, like the way that people respond to it. But I don't want to bias you. I'm curious
Okay,
to know
okay.
what you would say.
I feel like I should say something about like why is there war and sickness, but I want to say, um,
I guess it doesn't have to be one question. It'll just be a question, because
a,
certainly there are lots of questions we have.
okay, um, I guess I would ask why, um, mortality, like why people live the length of time they live. Like, why is it that it's generally like this average of living till 75 or 60? I don't know. Why is it that number? Like, why isn't it more? Why isn't it less? Something like that. Like, that's just a random, I don't know.
Oh no, I love that. I love that question. And it's really interesting, because like the age of, like, the average mortality age has been changing
Yeah,
so much.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's so dependent on where you live and which culture and nutrition and genetics and everything like that. So it's a really interesting question. I wanted that answer too.
Okay.
Yeah. So now we're at the end of our snapshot interview. And we're wondering if there's anything you would like to shout out to your followers and to your fans and your students and your family.
Um, I don't know if I have that many fans or followers.
You have we're a fan. We're fans.
Okay. Let's see. You can delete all this before this, right? Okay. So let's see. Oh, I guess I'd just like to say, just keep coming to live concerts and keep make your kids play an instrument, I guess.
Yeah, I'm all in support of that as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
Sorry.
thank you so much, Tamara. No,
Okay.
it was great.
Okay.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for giving us a snapshot of you. We're looking forward to seeing you soon again during our relationship management workshop for conductors on our Meta Artists International platform. Our next upcoming class, I believe, is on Wednesday, right? Yes. And to our viewers, thanks so much for watching till the end. We have more snapshots to be published soon, so stay tuned, and also make sure to subscribe, and see you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.